Welcome, everybody. Thorns FC's coverage of the draft actually starts now. The 2022 NWSL Draft is on Saturday, December 18th. I'm Richard Farley, and here with me is a longtime colleague, Travis Clark from Top Drawer Soccer. Travis, what's your world like these days when we're getting so close to the draft?
Well, it's pretty busy because college season just ended and I'm doing all of our end of the year content. And I also have to prepare for a draft now. So I'm not here to complain about the draft. Drafts are exciting, but it's a lot of work to kind of roll that all into one and not have the usual buffer that I get. Like I get like a few weeks to a month to prep. So it's pretty hectic these days.
Yeah, that's one of the weird things about this 2022 draft. It's actually taking place in 2021.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Shoot.
Sorry to steal your line. Let me set you up here for something else. Every draft is a little bit different, Travis, in terms of the general strength of the one that's happening this month or tomorrow. How would you describe it?
So there's a lot of things going on with this draft to keep in mind when following it, when looking at the players. First and foremost, you have the pandemic, obviously, which is still going on, but the NCAA granted an extra year of eligibility to players. So there's a lot of top talent that has elected to use that eligibility and who would have been available for this draft. They are playing college. They're planning to play next fall. Then you have the added element to the players that were picked in January 2021 and then decided to play this fall. Track with me here for Thorns fans. Sorry about that. But you'll soon meet one of these players in Sam Coffey, who she was picked in January and then will join the team in 2022 because she played in the fall. So that has shifted the pool in what it would normally have been. So there's a lot going on. Looking at the players themselves, roughly just under 200 players have registered officially for the draft. There's a lot of center back depth. There's a lot of goalkeepers. There's some decent players at the top, names that longtime U.S. youth national teams fans may know. Naomi Girma from Stanford, Jalen Howell. I have them pegged as sort of the top two, 1A, 1B, if you will. Howell won 2 NCAA championships at Florida State during her time. Looks to be pretty set as the number one pick overall, whoever picks her. If there's a trade, I'm assuming there's always craziness in trades at NWSL drafts. So that's what I'm assuming will happen. But that's just kind of the general overview, the quick snapshot without kind of going into super detail.
You mentioned the craziness that usually happens in the draft. The Thorns are usually part of the cause of that. Who knows when they might trade up to number one, as they did in the 2020 draft to take Sophia Smith, who was a club teammate in Colorado of Jalen Howell. So once we get beyond those top two, Travis, of Howell and Girma, what other talents should people be looking out for?
Yeah, I think there's a number of different players. You're going to have to kind of look outside the box. One thing that I've kind of done, because there's just so much kind of funkiness, is you look at somebody like Marley Canales out of UCLA. She's somebody that has played for a top tier program, really, really smart, really good soccer player. She's somebody that I think in the right fit, the right opportunity comes her way. Canales is a player that I've been familiar with for several years. There's some sleepers out there. Jada Talley, a forward from USC, didn't have the greatest season. She actually played 4 years at Arizona, then took her extra year at USC, where I believe she battled injuries. Another USC teammate of hers, Savannah DeMello, attacking midfielder, a lot of youth national team experience. And then, there's several center backs I'm curious to see how they shake out. Caitlin Cosme at Duke, great season, but you look at her resume. I hate to boil it down to a player size, but you have to wonder, she's listed at 5'5". Are you tall enough? Do you move to outside back? Cheyenne Dennis, South Florida center back. She's had a great college season. Great college career. She has the size and the physical tools that you really could see thrive right away. Dealing with that, the high demands of NWSL soccer. Another player that I'm going to keep an eye on is Sydney Cummings. She had a great career at Brown University. Obviously, they didn't play in the 2020-2021 season. She actually transferred to Georgetown, helped forge one of the best defenses in the country there. You guys know all about Georgetown defenders and how great they can be. And then her collegiate teammate, Kellyanne Livingston, another name to know, another really high quality center back, where you look at them and you think, I think this could be a really good player. Again, a lot of these players, it's going to come down to, is it the right system for them? Is it the right fit? And do they get a chance? And do they take those chances? So, the jump from college to NWSL is getting bigger and bigger. With the addition of new teams, that's a really exciting element to it. But I'm really curious to see how that shake things out and how many players from this draft stick.
Travis, I got to give you credit. You know your audience. Nice Emily Menges allusion there. Nice Megan Nally allusion there. Love you for that. But speaking about the Thorns, you're talking about potential moves on draft day. Right now, they hold the 13th pick, the 20th pick, the 48th pick. It's a nice potential package to move up. But let's assume that they don't, and their first pick is at 13, second is at 20th. And let's also assume that even though the decision makers have changed here, the Thorns maintain the kind of development mindset that has produced the Simone Charlie type players of the world. With those premises in mind, what kind of talent are we looking at dropping into the second round for the Thorns?
I think a lot of those names that I mentioned previously, I kind of grabbed from thinking that they would be available sort of in that second round range. That's kind of what I tagged them with. Again, it's going to be so unpredictable. I haven't had as much time to kind of dig into it. Maybe if there's somebody like an Emily Gray that is available. She's a Virginia Tech, really high quality player, lots of 12 goals, 8 assists as a senior. And I wouldn't expect her to play that similar kind of a role at the next level, but a lot of what she does very, very well. So Sydney Nasello is another name that comes to mind, an attacking player on the wing, probably more of a first round pick. But, a lot of those names that I've kind of already thrown out, I think could be available. And I do think that's a good tactic to take as well, because there's a lot of probably hidden talent in this draft that, with some of these top tier players that I talked about going back to school, you're going to have to find those players that you're going to have to, we want to give some time, maybe not coming in playing right away, but, like you said, working that development angle, getting games, whether it's getting games in scrimmages or whatever, finding ways to polish players' games that might not be ready right away, but 6 months, 2023, let's not, even though that seems like it's 10 years away, it's 2 years away, maybe somebody like a second year hit, that sort of a thing. So I think if you take that view at this draft, even at picking in the second round, that's a good place to start, because it's going to be a little bit more difficult to come away from that period of the draft with somebody that's ready to go right away.
Travis, I'm not only envious of the knowledge, you're making me wish I had more time to watch the college game, but I'm also envious of the artwork in the background. I want to give you an offer for that as we sign off. But
those are my kids. So it's going to be a great backdrop here.
I think it's perfect. I love it, man. If you put it on Etsy, I'm putting in a bid. Anyways, Travis, thanks for joining us, man. And let's do this again next year so you can drop some knowledge on the fans again.
No problem. Anytime.